We're always told that AI is all about making work faster, easier, and more efficient. But what if that's not just wrong? What if it's the exact opposite of what we should be aiming for? Today, we are diving into a really fascinating idea that argues the biggest challenge AI brings us isn't about technology at all. It's about human purpose. So let's just start with a question that kind of flips the whole AI script on its head. We hear all the time about superintelligence and massive job losses. But what if the real, immediate threat to your business is something, well, way more quiet? What if it's just plain old boredom? To really get our heads around this, the paper we're looking at uses this brilliant metaphor. Think about your job, your whole company, really, as one big video game. It's full of challenges to figure out, skills to master, and levels to beat. So where does AI fit in? Well, AI is the ultimate cheat code. The one that makes the entire game instantly, almost ridiculously easy. Okay, so let's dig into this idea of the AI cheat code. Because, yeah, it sounds great at first, right? Who doesn't want things to be easier? But we're about to see why making the game of work too easy could actually be a massive strategic problem. I mean, think about any video game you've ever really loved. What happens the second you turn on a cheat code for, say, invincibility or unlimited money? The fun just drains away, doesn't it? The challenge is gone, you get bored, and you turn it off. The core argument here is that AI runs the risk of doing the exact same thing to our work. So if AI is taking away the challenge, this isn't just about a few people feeling a little restless at their desks. This paper argues it actually creates what it calls a strategic crisis of boredom. Let's get into the psychology of why our best work, our peak performance, absolutely requires a real challenge to even exist. And the key idea here is something called the flow state. You definitely know this feeling. It's when you are completely in the zone. It's that perfect sweet spot where what you're capable of doing is perfectly matched with how hard the task is. It's challenging, but you can do it. And that is where we feel the most engaged, the most productive, and honestly, the most happy. This visual really captures the entire argument perfectly. It lays out exactly how that AI cheat code messes up the crucial flow state that drives all of our best work. This is the whole story in one picture. You start with high engagement, then you introduce this disruptive tech, and you end up with boredom. Let's break down each step. First up, you've got the ideal situation, the pre-AI flow state. This is where you have talented, skilled people tackling tough, meaningful problems. That dynamic, high skill meets high challenge, is the engine of innovation, of peak performance, and of actual job satisfaction. Then, along comes step 2, the AI cheat code gets activated. It starts automating the complex stuff and smoothing over the very challenges that were keeping your team locked in and engaged. All of a sudden, the hard parts of the game, which are also the interesting parts, start to just vanish. And that brings us to the final disrupted state. Now, you've still got these highly skilled people, but they're facing easy, low-level challenges. That perfect balance is totally broken. And the result? It's inevitable. It's boredom, it's disengagement, and it's a huge drop in performance. And here's the absolute critical risk for any business. We are wired to solve problems. It's just who we are. When a game gets too easy, we don't just sit there. We go find a new, harder game to play. In business, that means your best talent and your most valuable customers will just pack up and leave to find that challenge somewhere else. So if that old way of engaging people is now broken, what in the world does this mean for how companies actually create value? Well, it leads to a total collapse of the old business models that were built on one simple promise: making things easy for you. This right here is the core of the strategic shift. The entire idea of value gets flipped on its head. For decades, the winning move was to offer convenience. We make it easy. But in a world where AI can make everything easy, that value just becomes a commodity. The new premium, the new value, isn't about making things easy. It's about helping people conquer a difficult, meaningful challenge. And this isn't just theory either. Look at how this shift really impacts the day-to-day business. Customer satisfaction stops being about giving quick, easy answers. It becomes about helping them achieve something with purpose. And sales? It's no longer about listing off features. It becomes about inspiring your customers to take on bigger goals, using your product to get there. Okay, so we've laid out the problem. AI threatens to make work, and maybe even our products, boring. So what's the fix? The argument is that it's not about rejecting AI. It's about proactively and intentionally engineering a new, harder game for both your employees and your customers. The goal here is a pretty fundamental mindset shift. Your team members can't be seen as just cogs in a machine designed for efficiency anymore. They have to be empowered to become the architects who are actually designing this new, more challenging, more meaningful game. This table is a fantastic playbook for that shift. Instead of asking the old questions about efficiency, we have to start asking new ones. For your value prop, the new answer becomes, we enable you to overcome the challenge with us. And for product design, you have to seriously ask yourself, are we building this for boredom, or are we building it for peak performance by actually demanding human engagement? And all of this leads up to the paper's big idea, its core strategic concept, meaningful precision. It's the art and science of deliberately engineering your entire business to align that deep human need for purpose directly with your company's goals. All right, so we have the diagnosis and we have the strategy. Let's bring it all home with a practical playbook. How do you actually win in this new reality where meaning is suddenly worth a lot more than just making things easy? If you only remember one thing from this whole discussion, let it be this. The AI revolution is not an automation challenge. It is a human performance challenge. This is about psychology, not just technology. So if the game has changed, you can't keep using the old scoreboard, right? The old metrics, like how fast you respond to a ticket. They're built for an efficiency machine. They don't work anymore because they measure what's easy. We need a new dashboard for what's meaningful. Are you tracking the number of big, meaty challenges your teams are taking on? Are you measuring actual fulfillment, not just surface-level satisfaction? And this one is so crucial. Are you keeping your best people? Because they're the ones who crave these challenges the most, and they will be the first ones to leave a boring game. And so, that leaves us with one last really important question to ask ourselves and our companies. In this new era where AI is going to handle all the easy stuff, what kind of game are you designing? Are you building for boredom, or are you building for purpose?